So Jeff, appreciate you joining us, and CEO and founder of Steelhead there. And I know you all had some very exciting news. You've partnered with two other firms in the industry. Tell us about that and what it's going to mean for end users in the future. Going.
Yeah, thanks, Tim. And yeah, there's two kind of stories that both just happened to happen at the same time within a handful of months there. The partnership with Visual Shop and Bluestreak. But really, to answer your question, what does it mean for the finishing and coating industry? It means, the velocity of technology improving is going to continue staying elevated. That's really the magic of joining forces. If you look at, read any newspaper, you can't make it two scrolls without hitting AI again and again and again. Whether it's trillions of dollars being spent on it, and obviously it impacts finishers and coders, helping out with the build out of data centers. But also you have to ask yourself, like, why is the technology space investing so much in technology? And the reality is that it actually is kind of the real deal. AI is. And so that's what we're excited to do, is be a technology partner to the metal finishing industry. So, 1 year from now, 2 years from now, 3 years from now, and even today, shops have access to the absolute latest and greatest technology. So that's really the big takeaway is, instead of seeing all these headlines where, the world is kind of running away and technology is going away. And it's like, well, what am I doing? What is my shop doing to stay on the forefront? What we hold ourselves accountable to our customers, to our partners, really is to keep them at the front of the pack on technology, so that they're continuing to be able to grow their business and get a great margin that they can invest in equipment and focus on quality, focus on their customers, focus on training their employees, and increasingly leverage AI to automate as much as we can in the front office and make sure that the team knows exactly what's going on, whether it's quality issues or sales issues, so people can best manage their shops.
Right. It's interesting. I hear a lot of shop owners talk about, I don't know how I would ever use AI, or I don't know. And I say to them, you're using it now and you don't realize it. And you're using it to make your business efficient. And sometimes they don't realize it. But, and that's really kind of, I think, what happens with a lot of people. They don't realize they're using it now, and then they can probably do more with it if they really thought about it more.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the wonderful thing about AI is that it makes technology very approachable. So you don't have to be in the weeds, really into details, into computers. I like to dig around in software all day long and build a bunch of reports and sit in my computer for 8 hours and dive in. It's extremely accessible. Like we're releasing a mobile app in the next couple of months here, and you'll be able to click a button on your phone and just talk to it and say, how was my revenue last week? How's my quality trending? Who are my top 5 customers, and how's their production volumes been for the last week? Or did line 5 or line 7 do more production volume last week? So that's really the magic of AI, is it makes it extremely accessible. And also even today, we have AI order entry. So we're seeing shops that are reducing their order entry burden by half or more. There's a 30 headcount shop in Minnesota that went from 2 people doing order entry down to 1, and they have less errors and it gets done faster. So it's not a I'm just going to plug in AI and everything's going to get fixed, right? It's you want to put a solution in place just to solve that. So AI order entry it's a very narrow widget, right? And then you have AI bill entry, which automates another piece of software. And then you have the AI insights. We're working on AI lead times, AI quoting as well. But the goal is to find all these different work streams in your business and reduce the number of people that it takes to operate your business. And what I mean by that, is you can double your revenue without adding any people to the front office, right? I think everyone's more in the growth mindset. So if you walk around your shop and you see anyone doing anything on paper or on the phone or sending emails or walking around looking for information, that's a pretty big red flag that there's an opportunity to leverage technology there.
Right. Yeah, definitely. And with this acquisition, like you said, you're bringing it. Is it more that you're kind of maybe possibly rolling? I know you all have so many features in Steelhead software now, but possibly roll in some additional features that were in these other two, but also maybe tapping into some of the engineering mindset that these other two had. Is that kind of the benefit of the whole process of the acquisitions with that?
Absolutely, Tim. Visual Shop and Bluestreak had 150 and 90 customers each, respectively. So they have deep relationships with their customers. They know their businesses inside and out. So we are absolutely benefiting from now having all that information and know-how and relationships under one roof. Todd, the president of and the founding engineer of Bluestreak, is actually at our headquarters this week, August 10th here, and is sitting down with our engineering team because they have certain features that we don't have in Steelhead that their customers love and depend on. So we're working on bringing the best together, and we will be putting all product investments into the Steelhead platform going forward, because that's where Steelhead is the broadest platform out of the three. It's a digital system. It's ERP, MES, QMS, CRM, and accounting all in one.
Mm-hmm.
So like Bluestreak is really good at MES and QMS, especially in the heat treating as well, and also some regulated metal finishing as well. So there's a great, so we can go in and enhance our MES and our QMS. So it's about pulling it into a modern AI platform, but then also pulling into integrating those great tools into a broader platform, because that's one thing that AI is really good at, is when it can see things. So if AI can see your accounting and your quality and your receiving and your purchasing and your maintenance, it can do all sorts of magical things. But if you have all those systems in separate different systems and you don't have job costing as an example, now you've kind of taken this really powerful thing and it's not hooked up to anything. So it'll help you plan the weekend and plan your picnic and dig through this Excel sheet for you, but it's kind of bespoke and one-off. So if you want to really leverage this transformational technology, which is AI, it needs to be deeply integrated into your everyday flow, your everyday workflow. And that's what we're looking to deliver for our customers.
Right, definitely. With that, on top of things being automated, and like you said, you're not having as many people having to do certain functions, which is great, because labor's a big issue for a lot of people.
Yeah.
One of the things I think is a great byproduct of this is a lot of owners can get more data and information about what their company is doing, which I'm sure they have not at all had that ability to do in the past with some other older systems. I'm sure with that. Is that pretty much what you're seeing?
That's correct, Tim. And I mean, it's at different levels. Like some shops aren't really tracking their revenue by line or by process,
Mm-hmm.
or even their labor costs, right? So, I would say kind of middle of the pack, state of the art over the last 5 to 10 years has been, hey, I know my different processes that I offer, my different lines, and I know my labor costs and my utilities per line on a per week basis, on a per day basis. So at least I know, hey, this process is making money, this process is losing money. There are a lot of shops that don't even have that level. So there's a ton of opportunity there to dive in. The shops that know if they're making money on a part by part basis, those are the ones that really kind of run away with it, because they're able to look at their masking cost, and their inspection cost and their packaging cost.
So yeah, Jeff, one thing I hear from a lot of shops is as they're looking for, either looking to sell their shop down the road or to, pass along, is to really, get become more digital, become more computerized. I think it makes it more attractive to any buyer when you have a shop that is really digitized like this and ready to go.
Yeah, absolutely, Tim. Succession planning, whether it's a sale to a financial firm or to another shop, or even if you're selling to your own employees, or even handing it off to family members, it all really follows the same arc. And one of the biggest kind of failure modes of a plating shop or a finishing shop or even any small business is when the owner is vital to the day-to-day operation. So if yourself, if you own the business, and also if you say, hey, if I take a 1 month vacation and things really grind to a halt and decisions aren't being made, then that's a huge red flag, because now the pool of buyers or successors that can take over the business aren't just getting a business, they're getting a business plus a job. And then if you're selling to financial buyers, well, financial buyers have the most money, so they're willing to pay the highest price. So if you want to get the highest return for all of your decades of energy you've put in, the financial buyer is going to pay the most. So now you have to ask, well, what do they want? Well, what they are going to want, they ultimately want to buy a cash generation machine. So they want to buy something with great margins. They want to buy something with 15, 25%. They want to see customer loyalty. They want to see depth in the leadership. That's a huge one that I've heard talking to some of these private equity firms that are active in the space. They basically go through your org chart and push and pull and say, okay, if I take this person out or that person out, does the whole thing come down? They want to see depth and leadership. And systems can be a huge driver of that. Not only does it pull out all of the statistics and all the stats and all the KPIs that investors or business owners, prospective business owners, will be looking for: on-time delivery, revenue growth, margin, first time through quality, on-time delivery, the whole nine. But it also creates infrastructure where there's interchangeability of people, essentially. So if your quality manager leaves, can you train a new quality manager in a couple of weeks? Or is the whole quality program in their mind? The sales the sales leader, sales manager as well? Do you guys have multiple people that quote the same way? Is there a system? Is there a process there?
Right.
Or is it, someone who just kind of thinks of a number on the fly, and if you take them away, all that special sauce leaves. So there's a ton to talk about on succession planning, and but it's a very exciting opportunity because U.S. manufacturing is really heating up right now. So there's actually a lot of people that are looking to get involved, it's a great time to be in U.S. metal finishing.
Right, exactly. Yeah, like I said, it goes back to as long as you can, the old phrase, don't tell me, show me. And if you can show people the data of what's been going on, I think that makes them more attractive more than anything with that. One thing I want to ask, Jeff, as we kind of close here, when you, what can shops expect when they engage you all? It's not just simply coming in, installing software and things like that. I mean, what do you all do? How do you begin the transaction of working with them? How does that all take place? What can they expect out of that?
Sure. So working with Steelhead is a whole journey, as is any major initiative. So Steelhead runs your ERP, your MES, your CRM, your accounting. So it touches just about everything in your business. So it's not just switching out one system for another. It's really something you do when you want to change where the business, how the business behaves, where the business is at. So you're like, business at A, we want to get to B, and Steelhead is a way of getting us there, whether it's growth, improving margin, preparing for a sale, whatever it may be. And so it's a very kind of foundational process for a shop. So the first thing I'd say is don't enter the process lightly. Enter the process with an open mind. Where are we trying to get to? Are we trying to grow? Are we trying to double in size? Are we trying to improve our profitability from 4% net margin to like 20% net margin? What are the problems we're looking to solve? And then I would definitely encourage you to talk to other shops in the area and just ask, hey, what are you using? What do you like? What do you don't like? Have an honest assessment. Talk to your entire team. One thing we found is that owners will watch their own team do scheduling or invoicing or something, and they'll be like, wow, that's how painful your workflow is. So go look at your business with an honest set of eyes, right? Try not to be a hometown hero, but just sit there and watch it and give an honest assessment. And then the others is to engage with vendors. Like Steelhead obviously has a sales function, sales team, so the other vendors. And by engaging with them and invite them to come on site, come out, check out our shop, they will teach you a tremendous amount about what they see in the industry, what best practices are. And it's like, hey, come do a walk to the shop. How do you guys do this? How do you do that? So you can learn a ton. And then if you do decide to partner with Steelhead to answer your question, what that looks like during the deployment process, it's a big surgery. We try to make it as quickly as possible. So if you're, just to give you a rough rule of thumb, so if you're like a 50-person shop, it'd be about 2 months, start to finish. So it's very hands-on. We have a deployment leader that owns the success of your account. So that's one person at Steelhead whose name that you guys will know on a very tight basis. We provide project management services, on-site services, deployment launch, consulting, and then there's a bunch of AI in the platform as well to teach you how to use the software. And we try to make it easy as possible. And then once you're up and running, it's like you moved houses. You lived in Michigan and now you live in Oklahoma. But it's like you're there, you have running water, the kids are in school, like it's like stable. So that's like the end of a deployment and everything functions. And then from there, now it's really exciting because it's just a multi-year journey that never ends. It's like, hey, let's go take a look at our job costing, refining that. Let's go, maybe we should get our purchasing inside of the system as well, and our receiving workflows, or our quality documentation, or hey, let's try to go NADCAP, something we've been talking about for years, or let's go ISO. So that's what's really exciting once you get the foundation shifted over and that kind of more intensive several week or a couple of month deployment period. Now you're on the upside and you're focusing on growing the business, and that's where we try to be a technology partner and support whatever the goals are for your shop.
Yeah, it does seem like it's a very, very big and important and probably much needed turning point for some operations. So, again, congratulations on the acquisition. Sounds like you guys are getting, getting some really good additions to your team with that. So I appreciate you taking time out, and let's talk again.
Excellent. Thank you, Tim.